All right. Brian Parker here again. I've been getting a lot of good feedback about my 10-minute versions of these hour-long diatribes that I go on particular subjects because, as I always say, in my head, I've got 30 years and I try to do it in 30 minutes, but I always give you more than 30 minutes. But I've got some good feedback with the 10-minute. They're called 10-minute versions, but those go a little long too. So I'm going to do private student loans today. That will, I think, 40 minutes. And in my head, I'm always fixing stuff. So I'm going to fix this one and make it more clean and down and dirty for you. So this is the 10-minute version of the private student loan video I did previously with a twist. It's a kind of a cool twist. I just did a video on securitization of debts. What is securitization? And that kind of so blends itself well with the private student loan, as you'll see if you watch that video, or if you watch the how to beat a debt collection lawsuit video. The reason I bring those up because all those ingredients to winning a case are in what I'm about to tell you. So this again is given to you for informational purposes, educational purposes, and with this bedhead entertainment purposes. But I'm coming from a good place. Just woke up again and said, I'm doing this. Because I read online last night, they like the shorter versions. So the private student loan lawsuit is no different than any debt buyer lawsuit, which is incredibly easy to win. DNF, PRA, anything brought by Stenger and Stenger, generally, Crown Asset Management, Midland Credit. Think those things, and then you will win these things, these student loan debts. Student loans have this horrible black cloud over them. We're stuck in student loan nightmare of $1 trillion that we can't get out of. Biden did what he did, and now that's changed. But these are private student loans. They may as well be called debt collection lawsuits brought by debt buyers, because they are. There's a couple of main players. Discover bought a lot of student loan debts. There's SLM Education. There's Navient Solutions. The big one is National Collegiate Student Loan Trust. And generally they have a number of when the debt was originated. If you watch my securitization video, originated is the key to all this stuff. Who's the originator? Who's the original creditor? And just like in debt buyer lawsuits, just go to my video on debt buying lawsuits, how to defend against them. You have to see a perfect chain. It's called a perfected chain of title from the originator to the guy that's suing you. It's never there. These are debt buying lawsuits don't kid yourself. That's all they really are. They're generally 10 to 15 years old. You know you took the money out. And as I always tell courts and brother counsel, just because my client took this debt out doesn't mean they owe it to this weird debt buying trust. The reason I say go to my securitization video, and I've got a 10-minute version that's about 30 minutes, so you don't have to slog through that horrible hour I did, is that's the basis of the private student loan debt. When you pull the paperwork, you will see something called a deposit and sale agreement. It will literally call it, the company that's suing you, and I'm going to just read it, the National Collegiate Student Loan Trust 2005-3, for example. There's no, it's small, but it's big. There's no "the" in front of National Collegiate Student Loan Trust on the lawsuit. None of them have that. There's a reason, but as far as I'm concerned, that's not the real entity. You got to have your real name. I mean, if GM was suing you and they just put M, is that a GM lawsuit? Certainly not. It's corporate. Corporations have to be known by names. And in fact, corporation code and law is such that you have to be precise. Are you an LLC? Are you an incorporation? And you can't take the same name as someone else. That's what separates you. That's why you take a name. So you have to bring the real name, which they don't. If you go to the deposit and sale agreement on every one of these cases, there are a couple law firms that do this heavily, sue people. There's like 800,000 of these lawsuits been filed from National Credit Student Loan Trust. I'm focusing on them because student loan debt is all the same. It's just debt buying. But companies take different approaches. National Collegiate Student Loan is suing everybody. They've slowed down a bit when the government came after them. Then a different government came in and said, don't go after anybody because of this particular administration. Now that's changing a little. If you go to securitization, my securitization video, you'll see that there are 5 entities that once owned the National Collegiate Student Loan debt. It's First Marblehead Bank, the National Collegiate Funding LLC, Gate Holdings, National Collegiate Student Loan Trust. Just say that to a jury. If they can't figure out what's going on, they're not going to rule for National Collegiate Student Loan Trust. However you want to muddy the waters, go to my video on trying a case if you want to see what I mean. But what I want you to see is to either go to edgar or sec.org, and you can pull up any form of securitization for every debt. Synchrony, Wells Fargo, Citibank, which is really Citigroup. You'll see that these things are all securitized. The very basis of this NCSLT, the very genesis, the inception, the origination is all about securitization of the debt. So if you go to their deposit and sale agreement, which means who's doing what, who's passing on the debt, who's receiving it, who's administering, who's collecting on it, go to Article 12, titled Assignment. As you know from my debt buying lawsuits videos, everything is about the assignment. Everything is about a perfected assignment. They clearly say in their own documents, the seller, which is probably National Collegiate Funding LLC, assigns its entire right and title and interest as purchaser under the sale agreement and student loan purchase agreement to the purchaser, which in this case is National Collegiate Student Loan Trust, and the purchaser will assign the same together with the right, title, and interest of the purchaser to an indentured trustee. So my point, and you will love this, is their own paperwork says the company that's suing you has already assigned the debt before they sue you. Yes, it's that easy. Hello, it's right in front of you, is what I want to yell every time I approach cases like this. It's so easy that people go, well, that can't be true. It is. So use your Google attempts to just, hey, is an NCSLT or student loan securitized? They all are. What does that mean? It's all about the assignments, baby. If you don't have an assignment to the company that's suing you, and that's all you really need to find, or find an absence, you've won that case. It's easy. So we're facing this juggernaut with the word student loan, but it's not as bad as it seems. In fact, I would argue, as I argued in the hour version of the student loan video, federal student loans, which are just impenetrable, there are horrible instances of victimization of millions of people because they can't fight back against these federal student loans because you can't bankrupt them, you can't touch them, you can't stop Navient from collecting on them. I would argue, yes, you can. If you go to my securitization video, it's all about the assignment. So Navient, especially around 2010, was dumping the private student loans that the government's assigned them into huge trusts. Well, there has to be an assignment. And then if you get sued on them, or if you're just getting letters, where's the proof you got it back from the student loan trust that everything was dumped into? So that's a door that's sort of opening. There's much smarter people than me that can take what I've said and then expand on that. So go check out the securitization and the student loan videos. But it's all about the assignment. The glass that I want you to look through, the prism, The way you look at all these lawsuits are, where's the assignment? Look for the word assigned, assigned by predecessor in interest, the assigner, the assignee. Just look for those words in the lawsuit. And I've told you in my other videos, it's usually a 5 to 15 paragraph video. Right on one side, this is false, this is false, this is true. And then look into how, for example, they're saying they're assigning. Well, I just told you in Article 12 of their own documents, they signed it out of there. So that's a false statement if they say National Collegiate Student Loan was assigned this debt. They weren't. They may have been in the past, but they then assigned it out, and you won't see that in the lawsuit because they prey on people's belief, well, I did take the loan, and then maybe, as I've said, 90% of these, because the person knew, they feel helpless, it gets defaulted, and now they own a big wad of debt on a 10-year-old debt that you hadn't paid on in years to a company that you never heard of. Don't let it go that way. You don't need an attorney to do this. I would recommend it, but you can use my videos depending on what state you're in. Remember, sec.org for all the securitizations, and you just Control F and put whatever entity you want to check out. It's a little bit more, I say the word complex, it's just a little bit more complex than that, but you can go online and get greater instruction. Go online to collectionstopper.com on how to handle these things. I've given you answers. I've given you debt notice. I've given you free, everything you need. Not just to fight these things, but my stuff, I'm not clear, especially in the morning. I write down for the court exactly what's going on because courts are used to getting denied, yes, no, whatever. I break it down. The stuff I just told you, all in my answers. So it will explain to you how they do the wrong that they do and how right you are to defend against it. Just because you took a loan doesn't mean everybody can sue you for it. And remember, some of these debts are so old. Again, look at this through the assignment prism. This is really nothing more. A private student loan debt lawsuit is nothing more than any other empty debt collection lawsuit from a debt buyer. And you're being bullied into paying something you really don't owe after 10 years. So you have SOL defenses, looking my answers in an affirmative defense. When was the last time you made a payment on this debt? Look at the chain of title. What is the genesis of the chain of title? The assignment, baby. It's all about the assignments. So also, a lot of these, they change the account numbers. So by the time the company that's suing you is suing you, the account number's already changed. Some of this stuff drives me crazy because it's right in front of you how wrong they are. And they get away with it. And you have to go do the hard work of going, look, it's right in front of you. And courts are like, yeah, but he took out the loan. Well, yes, but they don't owe it to this fellow. So you got to be adamant and bring out. And I think in one of my videos, it may have been it was the student loan video. There's a lot of bricks here. A brick is not a wall, but a number of bricks will add up to a wall to prevent them coming after you. Some of these things I'm telling you, and especially in the hour-long video, if you mesh the view of the securitization video with how to defend against a debt collection lawsuit, you will have gold. You will fight. And as I said in the securitization video, weaponize securitization. It's everything. By the way, in the deposit and sale agreement from National Collegiate Student Loan Trust, all those entities, those 5 entities, those are trust vehicles created specifically to pass the debt. Their names alone tell you something's wrong. So those are 5 bricks as you build this wonderful wall against the violation of due process by suing you on something you don't owe to this company. So it's important that you look into definitions too. What is a debt collector? If they are doing something by collecting on a debt, in this case, as I've reported to you with their own paperwork, somebody else owns that debt. It went to an indenture trustee, whatever the hell that is. So they're collecting for that third party. That's the definition of a debt collector, collecting a debt of somebody else's. And you're alleging that Bob Smith owes the debt. And you're pursuing them as debt collectors. So they will claim to be creditors in the shoes of the original creditor, but that train left the station in 2005. Look at the number. They always have numbers next to their names. National Collegiate Student Loan Trust. Right now I'm seeing 2005 and 2006. They are really digging right now with old debt. Look at their proof that you actually made a payment in the last, if it's depending on your state, the most, for example, California student loan debt, the statute of limitations 4 years. In Michigan, it's 6 years. In Florida, that can be changed depending on how you come at the contract. But these are nothing more than debt buying lawsuits. They're not this crazy, scary student loan litigation. It's not. So have faith, man. I had faith I'd do 10 minutes. I'm way beyond that. Go to collectionstopper.com. You'll see all the paperwork you need. Just go to Podcast Plus. Everything you need, from validating the debt, disputing something on your credit, filing an answer, filing a deposition notice. By the way, my deposition notices require that the person I'm deposing bring the securitization information on the debt, because I'm usually suing debt buyers. There's a ton of securitization behind all that. That's the weaponization that you need to do with securitization. Get used to securitizing, because it's just like any other debt collection approach. Eventually, it'll be like that for you. It's just a new thing, man. It's new for me, but it's paying great dividends. So you already have a great case in defense and a counterclaim. If they're suing you on a debt they don't owe and you can show it, I've based class actions. You should do a lot of class actions on this stuff. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. Doesn't make me any less of a bedhead, but it's all about the assignments. It's always all about the securitization, which have to have a chain of title. Weaponize your approach. All right, I'm not going to keep going on and on. This is the, unfortunately, not 10-minute version, but a lot less than the other student loan video I gave you. I hope it's helpful. Use that website, Podcast Plus. There's so many videos, so many pieces of paper that can rock your world and maybe open a door for you. If I just open a door and you do all the work, but I loosen that cap a little, that really turns me on, and I want to help. You're not paying me anything. This is my time, and I want to give back. We're all warriors in this fight, and we are all wounded warriors. We're not to discount what a real wounded warrior is. I was in the Army. But we are warriors suffering another form of harm by companies that are trying to take money from us, and their kind of misrepresentation. That's the best way I can put it. So in that warrior vein, fight back. Be a warrior for due process and pass on the information. So that's what I'm doing. I got 30 years in this head. I can give you 30 minutes, and I do. You're not paying me anything. So go at it, man. Use my stuff. Please contact me if you need help, or if you want, hey, Parker, I want to talk to you for 15 minutes. I'll do it. I won't give you any state opinion if you're not in the state that I have a bar in. I'm in Florida and Michigan, but I will help you loosen the cap and put your mind at ease. And maybe you'll tell me something where I'll go, oh my God, that's amazing, because I expect you to do that. And now together we can work on this thing. And now I'm making another video about your idea. There's so much here that we can help each other if we're warriors for each other. So collectionstopper.com, subscribe, comment, tell me how I can help you have a better day. And I thank you very much.